In this video, I want to talk about views and introduce you to views if you've never seen them. These are a favorite tool of both administrators and developers, and you're going to see why. These things are pretty cool. The bottom line on a view is that it is the result of a query that appears to the end user as a table. And actually, not only does it appear to the end user as a table, but it appears to the developer as a table as well. It looks like a table. It acts like a table. It has named columns and rows just like a table. But it is actually the result set of a query. Now, really what we're going to do here is create a query, give it a name, and then query against that name, and it will reach into the underlying query and use those results. Now here's the deal, and all this will make sense in just a minute when I show you one of these in action. But I want you to understand that the results for the query get produced dynamically when the view is referenced. So whenever somebody tries to reuse a view, the view goes out and runs its query to do the population. And hang on to that, we'll come back to it in just a few minutes. The view actually acts like a filter on the underlying data, and what I want to do is jump out into the Management Studio and show you one of these things, and then we'll come back in here and talk about it some more. So what I'll do is just jump out to the Management Studio and notice that I'm in the AdventureWorks LT 2008 database. What I want to do is let's just select everything, and I want you to notice I'm going to select the top 3 all columns from the salesLT.customer table. And I will execute that, and you'll see the result sets come back. Now notice in this table, we have a lot of information. We have a customer ID, a name, style, titles, first name, middle name, last name, suffix, company name for that person, the salesperson, email address, phone. Kind of interesting here, the password hash for that person, password salt for that person, the row, global unique identifier, modified date. I need to always be able to get to the customer's first name, last name, and their company name. And that is really all I want to provide to end users or to other queries. So what I can do is create a view here, and what I really want to do is provide, let me type a select statement, first name, last name, and then company name from salesLT.customer. If I run that particular query, you will notice the result set that comes back, and there they are. There's my first names, my last names, and the company names. What I can do now is jump to the top of this and type create view, and I'll just call this CustInfo and put the keyword as. Now if I highlight this, choose execute, you'll notice it comes back and it says that it completed successfully. Well, notice what I can do now. If I do a select asterisk from CustInfo and run that, you will notice I get that data. What I can also do is say select last name from CustInfo and run that, and I get just the last name. Now what I've done here, if you remember, is I took this particular table, and in the view I have filtered it to only show me those 3 columns. And then the view name that I have, CustInfo, now works as if it's a table in queries. And so you'll see a lot of people who build reports will do this because this query right here could have been a 12-table join. And it could only have produced the information that I basically need to see in most of my reports and so forth. Let's jump back out. Now what are the advantages? What do we get by doing this? Well, first of all, we can hide data complexity from our users. We don't have to tell our users to do a 12-16 table join. We can figure it out, get it working, throw it into a view, and just tell them to use the view. We can also do unions, and we can take multiple tables, create one result set, and make it a view. We can join data from multiple databases. We can join data from multiple databases on multiple servers and make that available as a view to our end users. Here's the big one. We can hide sensitive data from the users. If I didn't want certain users to be able to get into that customer's table and see the password hashes and salt and all that other stuff, and maybe there could have been social security numbers in there, I could just not give certain users access to the table. But that gets kind of tricky. But by using a view, I can go in and apply permissions on the view, and I never have to grant permissions for the underlying table. And so the user never has access to the table, but they can access filtered data from the table by using the view. I can also provide backward compatibility when structure changes. So if I'm pulling data from views for reports and I do something that changes my database table structures, I can just change the view, just adjust the view to give them the information they always had, and my reports keep working. And I mentioned security. We can go in on views and apply permissions on them. They're stored in the database, and I can grant different users or groups permission to use the view. I don't have to give permissions on the underlying tables. There's lots of cool things you can do with views. So go out there into Books Online, look at them, play with building a few, play with using them. I think you're going to get a lot of good ideas from using views.